Welcome to the Midnight Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Easton Bennett, alongside my fellow co-host, Tyler Sinden. We are both entrepreneurs who are learning, growing, and building our own businesses. Our goal is to share our experience and knowledge to help you grow and become a successful entrepreneur. Strap in. Before we get started, if you have any questions or things you'd like us to cover, you can email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. And if you'd like to join our business Discord where we talk about wins, business problems, or general questions, shoot us a message and we'll get you in there. Tyler, what's going on? I apologize for the muffled voice. I have the worst congestion ever, and I don't know how to get rid of it. It's ridiculous.
I didn't really notice anything. The muffled voice I thought you were talking about before we got on the air, because you had your phone propped up on your couch and I could barely hear you, but I didn't really notice anything.
Yeah, it's just very stuffy nose, and I've just sucked down a whole bottle of Dayquil in the last week, and I just can't get rid of it. So time will tell how we can get rid of this. It's literally my biggest pet peeve is having a stuffy nose. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Turn into a mouth breather.
You always realize what you don't have until you don't have it. Or like, is that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like you never realize how great it feels to just be able to breathe freely. And then once you can't breathe, you're like, damn, that's what it feels like. And then you're like missing it. And then all of a sudden, like you wake up one morning and all of a sudden you can breathe again. You're like, you don't even think about it.
It was about 4 days ago. I had a sore throat, and I was like, man, I miss life when my throat wasn't sore. And now the sore throat's gone, and it's just right up in the nose area. It's horrible. But we're getting her done.
Go in the sauna.
I did sit in my bathroom and just blast the hot shower yesterday, but didn't seem to help very much.
No.
Whatever. So what's new with you, Tyler?
Yeah, so updating from last week, I said I fucked up and website went down, or not really down, but I couldn't access the back end. Contacted Bluehost. Bluehost got me back in there. No problems. I didn't assume there was going to be any issues. And then I think they only made a couple different edits from before when it crashed to when they backed it up and made those edits. Said, Mike, website's done. Website's good. Let me know if you have any questions. He said, nope, we're all good. I sent him a couple videos on what he wants, because he wants to be able to go in there and freely edit it and add new pages. Sent him a couple videos, said this is what she asked for. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll send you an invoice. So got that all sent off. Website's done. Sent an invoice to him, and Mike was on top of that.
Paid it right away. We love those clients.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was right on top of that. So that was really nice to see. And I don't know if he's going to ask me to do anything in the future, but I didn't expect it. When we first started talking, it was a little bit of, he had a lot of other issues and he kind of did want someone to be there for him to ask questions and be accessible to. If he does ever have questions, I'll probably help him out. But I'm assuming he's done, and maybe I'll help him out in the future. But yeah, that's pretty much it with old Mikey boy.
Hey, well, that's good to hear. Good to hear that you got it fixed. Learning that panicking is never a good idea. But we got her done.
And doing stuff you don't know.
Exactly.
Taking on clients that you might not really align with you, but that's how we learn.
Foreshadowing. Well, good to hear. As far as an update on my end goes, I know last week we were talking about a job. Traveling around the country, which it seems like that project is in the motion. Just got to decide what package they want to go with. I sent over 4 proposals, one with a smaller crew, one with a 2-person crew, and then one with some editing on there. So there's some variations for them to look at, and they are on board for that. They just got to decide which package they want to go with, and we were hoping to hear back this morning. But we're filming this here, 9 o'clock it is right now, and I haven't heard anything. So hopefully by today we will, and then we can update next week. But that's good. Excited to get that project in motion. Probably the most exciting project that I've got to work on so far.
Is it only exciting because you travel?
I'd say so, and because it's the biggest company probably.
Did you edit the first videos, or did you just film?
So we did 2 projects. I edited one of them. They edited one of them. So,
how did those turn out?
Good. They said they really liked one of them. One of them they use They used really a lot internally to kind of pitch a bunch of different projects, and everyone liked that. And then the second one where they flew out their people, that one they're using for a ton of different marketing and social media. So I didn't edit or shoot that one, but I was on set helping out, which I guess you can count. A percentage of it goes to my efforts. So they're really liking that one. And then this one, excited. Another reason it's probably the most exciting project is some of the names that we're filming, which I'm not going to divulge, but there's some cool people on the list that we're going to go and film.
So like Cubans?
Not
Like-
Cubans.
So like companies?
No, individuals.
Okay, so humans.
Oh, I thought you said Cubans, like from Cuba.
No.
I'm like, no Cubans.
Cubans and Mexicans, yeah. No,
I was
humans.
like,
I don't know. I was trying to think of how to phrase it, but like you're talking about like
people, yeah.
high net worth individuals that are
Yes.
maybe somewhat famous.
Yes, correct. And that's where,
Gotcha.
God, I was like, why the heck would we film Cubans, man? That's crazy.
Going to meet up with Gary Vaynerchuk in New York.
Would be sick. I will be there. Maybe I'll see him.
Probably see a bunch of famous actors on the streets.
Yeah,
I know
just
you always hear about that, but doubt it.
walking around. I'll just be hunting for him. But yeah, that's exciting. And then the second update I have, yesterday was pretty much a full day of delivering cookies. I tried to set up like a route of like, hey, I'll go here, and then this business is on the way. And then my first pile of cookie boxes, I think there were 7, went flawlessly. I went from North Hill straight up Broadway, just hitting every business. Then after that, it was a crapshoot. People weren't answering, so I'd go all the way south, drop off a box. Someone would answer all the way north, back south. But it went well. Went well dropping off those cookies. Got great feedback. Everyone loved the cookies.
Nice.
And I even got a text message from one of them saying, hey, this is great relationship building and community involvement. Really appreciate what you've done for us, blah, 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 blah. So just a pro move on the cookies. So if you guys are running a business, consider doing Christmas gifts. I think they ended up costing me $375 for about 15 times 12. What's that? 180 cookies? Or 150?
How many businesses?
Yeah. I think it ended up being 27, 26, 27, 28 maybe.
That's solid.
Yeah. So not everyone got a full dozen. But, you know, putting 3 of my logo cookies in there and then 3 of their logo cookies in there. I know I dropped off 1 to a client that just signed on for 2024 for 6 months. And we haven't even worked together yet. But just said, hey, excited to work together. And she opened it. She's like, oh my gosh, it's like we're coming together through cookies. So I was kind of laughing, but I was like,
So
yeah,
corny.
Yeah, exactly. So good to get the foot in the door. I also had another one, one of the bigger projects we shot this year, delivered them. And he said, yeah, we just showed the landing page and the video to our board. And they were like, oh my gosh, is this actually what is happening right now? He's like, no, it's kind of a concept, but he said they love the idea. So good to get good feedback and kind of get the foot in the door for a conversation about 2024.
You should send me some of these landing pages. I feel like you've made a few, but you should send me them. I want to see what they look like. See how they're built out.
Yep.
I was gonna
I can do that.
ask. Did you also include handwritten notes with those cookies, or just cookies?
Handwritten notes. Yep, I got thank you cards and then written all of them. Holy man, by the 22nd business, I don't even know if it's going to be legible, but we got it done.
There you go. I was gonna say that's another good thing to include in there. So looks like you got all that down pat.
Yeah, and now I was kind of thinking, I'm like, you can't do cookies every year, so maybe I'll have to do some sort of something fun next year, just to switch it up every year. Because if they're like, oh, we just get the same cookies every year for 9 years,
It'll be like a surprise.
yeah, it might be
I can't
stale.
wait to see what you get me.
Yeah. And I did give Alex Hormozzi's $100 million leads. I had 9 extra of those books. So I gave 7 of them out, I think. And I still got to deliver 2 more to some of the people that I thought it would align with. And 2, I thought those clients deserved a little bit more. And I got good feedback from that they're super excited to get the book. One of them even said that they listened to the first book as an audiobook, so it's good to get the second one. So
Nice. That's sweet. There you go. I knew you were gonna I knew you mentioned earlier that you were going to be giving that out. So finally got that out. I never see you wear his merch though.
Yeah, his hat. I don't know.
Do
Once
you only have a hat?
Yeah, I just have his hat. It kind of fits my head weird. It's like really small, but
yeah, you got a big head.
Yeah, and I like the hats that have some like structure in the front of them, or that's one of like the dad hats that's really soft.
Yeah.
So I don't wear it a ton.
Yeah, I'm not a big hat person. I just don't. I feel like I don't look that great with hats.
Yeah, it's because you got good hair. See, I have the opposite. I don't have good hair, so I got to cover this.
Got to cover it up.
Cover this massacre.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Tyler, you got any more updates for us?
Yeah, I also just sent off a proposal for a client yesterday. I know you helped out a bit with that. We met, didn't really meet. We just got on a phone call 2 days ago, and he's just looking for some marketing services, some SEO, social media, blogging, content, and just keeping his website up to date, his Google profile up to date. I believe that one of the services that he needs the most or would be most beneficial is Google Ads. And I included that in the biggest package. And I know you sent me a little pitch deck, went through, used that. That made it look a lot more professional. I was just like, when I was looking at it, I was just like, yeah, I don't have to do this. I could just send an email, but this is going to make it look a lot more professional and that like I actually care. And like, this is going to be the type of work that I'm going to deliver.
Yeah.
So the pitch deck, I think, helped out a little bit. He said he was going to review it today and he'll get back to me. So we'll see what he says. He might try and rearrange it and try and fix stuff up, but I just don't. So one of the things he wants is social media. I really don't want to do social media, especially like how am I going to get content for him? So that was the one thing that and he also said on the call, because I mentioned, do you run any Facebook ads? And then he said, no, our ideal client typically isn't on there. His typical client. So what he does is like heavy duty machinery rentals. So it's like, if you're trying to look for rentals, you're probably not going on Facebook to try and find rentals and trying to get hit with an ad. So he's like, my ideal client is basically a business owner or someone that works for a business that's looking for rental equipment. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So in my opinion, I don't think he really needs, like, Facebook isn't a top priority. It's good to have the presence, but I don't think it's something that you need to be posting weekly or even daily. I think his past, his past marketer that he had, I think he was doing about daily, or not daily, weekly. And I don't think that he necessarily needs that, especially because, like he said on the call, like, my ideal client's not typically on Facebook.
I would semi agree. I mean, I don't think his top priority would be that. I think you mentioned Google Ads would be good for him, just getting that presence on Google, because I assume majority of people will be searching Google for those heavy machinery rentals. But I'm an advocate, man. Staying on top of people's minds on social media.
You don't need to be there that often. Like, what are you gonna post? And how are you gonna do that? Here's a thing. Come rent it. There's no value in that.
Yeah, but that's sales. You don't have to post sales. You post branding content, you know? Here's how to use this type of machinery. Here's the differences.
He's going to have to come up with that shit for me then.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that you have to do it, but the whole philosophy that he doesn't need social media stuff. I think every business needs social media stuff.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he doesn't need to be, like, as often as he, like, having the presence is good, but I don't think he needs to be extremely present there.
He won't hurt if he's got a guy to do it, you know?
Yeah, I'm that guy and I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Outsource it, man. You can make anything work. If you're like, yeah, I'll do it. It's going to cost you $4,000 a month though. And then you pay $2,000 a month to a video guy near him to go shoot it. And then you pay $1,000 a month for someone to schedule it all.
I would fly out there. That's me. I want to do that shit. I want to be like you and travel for work.
There you go. Unless it's that, then I don't know. Trust me, if I get a client in Michigan that wants to do heavy machinery, I might call somebody.
No, they're in Alberta.
Yeah, we got a team.
I'll call you.
Yeah, we got a team. We could get you over there.
I'll call you. Be like, you're only a couple hours away. Maybe a little bit more, but
I'd go do it.
Yeah.
There we go. See, we just got a partnership. Shoot him an email right now. Hey, actually, I lied. We could do that 100%.
Yeah, you might be out of his budget, though.
Yeah. Tell him fucking up it. You always, that's how I say, even if people, and this is a little tidbit of advice I've learned, most times you're probably right that it's out of your budget. But sometimes if you're just like, I know you're asking for this, I know you can't afford it, but in the weird case that you somehow have money you're not talking about, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. That's why you always do the Hollywood package, because, you know, it might not be 100% success rate, 100% not going to be that, but it might be 3%. And if you send out 100 proposals, you might get 3 people say, hell yeah, I want to do the biggest one. So I always throw some crazy proposal on their package at the end. And then you never know. You can't sell that.
That's kind of what I did.
Yeah, you can't sell that package unless you offer that package. That's what I've learned.
Yeah. It is slightly at a deal, but I did throw it in there just in case. Because, like, I think this is... Like, I tried to influence... Like, I was going to come up with an email and try and influence him as to the one that he should go with, which is the main one, or the big one. But I just tried to... Like, that's the one I would like to do, and it has the most social media in it. But I think it's the most beneficial for him.
Yeah. Here's a little pricing hack for our listeners. God, this stuffy nose drives me nuts. I can't even talk. But if you're doing 3 package tiered system, which me and Tyler kind of do, the third package is always going to be your crazy package, right? Which is just give them the world, but also charge them the world. But the first 2 packages, what you should do is that first package should be, you know, whatever the deliverables are, whatever you want to produce, and then go to about the highest dollar amount that you can with that package that you're comfortable charging. So let's say it's something for $1,000. Okay. The second package, you're going to give them a lot more deliverables than the first package, and do that for about the lowest amount you're comfortable for. So then when your third package comes in crazy high, the first and second one look close. So when they look at the first one, they're like, I might as well just go with the second one because it's only a little bit more and I'm getting way more. So that's one way you can kind of mentally push people into taking the second package, because they're like, I don't want to go with the third one because that's another $4,000. But if I go with the second one, it's only another $500. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like you're overcharging for the first package, properly charging for the second one, and then the third one is just fucking hope and a prayer.
I think I properly charged for the first and second, and then the third one I undercharged for.
Yeah. So we can learn from this, Tyler.
I don't even think he's going to go for that.
Yeah. But if he does, you're going to be like, I undercharged. Third one, you should just go with it.
I wouldn't. I would say I fairly properly charged, but I did go down a little bit. Like, I did add like a one-time fee for like the setup and everything. So like that helps it a little bit. But at the same time, I do think it is a fairly priced for all of them. Like, I didn't go like way above, and it's like,
yeah. So my question,
it's fairly priced.
To challenge you, and this is a good exercise on the podcast, I will ask you, what was the thought process on why you went down on the third package? Because you said you lowered it a little bit. Why?
I wouldn't say I lowered it. I'd say it's fairly priced. And the reason I want him to choose that one. That's why.
Okay. So that would be my advice for the second package. Lower the second one, you know?
Yeah, the reason because I showed you his previous marketer that he had. He ended up sending me his contract and what he was charging and what he was valuing his services as. And I'm like, man, he's doing way too much for way too little. So I was like, okay, how do I do this? So my first and second package, the first and second package were right in the middle of it. So I split it up, and then I'm like, okay, he can take less, and I'm going to give him less than what the previous guy was taking, or he can pay a little bit more. I'm going to do basically what the other guy was doing, maybe a little bit more, maybe up to a better quality. And then the third one is like, okay, this is everything that you need. This is everything that will help you get to your business to the next level. And this is what I think you should take. And I think this is fairly priced.
Yeah. My advice for the next one would be, if you ever get your hands on someone else's contract, which is probably rare. I've never seen anybody else like a previous vendor's contract. I would have that be your anchor point for your first one. So if he's charging $700 a month, you say, perfect. This is what I can give you for 700. Nothing's changing. Here it is. Because I don't see what's the benefit in going below that. If he's already used to 700, you might as well just start there.
Because I don't think he's going to choose that one.
Well, but you're losing out. You're losing out $200. You know what I mean? Not that $200 is a huge deal, but if he's used to 700, be like, cool, here's what I can do for 700. That's our starting point. That's what you're used to. Here are 2 more packages now that I think you should go for. Because going to 500 is like, that might entice him to be like, oh, well, it's cheaper and I'm only getting a little bit less than I had
He's
before.
not getting much.
Yeah.
He's not getting much in what he wants.
Yeah.
So the second package is basically everything that he wants. And then the third package is everything that he probably needs and wants.
Yeah. So.
And then the first package is just kind of a throwaway anchor type of package.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I still think anchor on that because, here's an example. I had somebody on the podcast the other day, business podcast, and he was talking to me. He's like, oh, yeah, we were doing this marketing and telling me about this video thing they did a couple years ago. And he's like, yeah, we spent I think it was like $4 or $5 grand, which is nothing. So right there, I'm automatically thinking in my head, I'm like, in the future, if he's like, hey, let's do this video package, I know previously in the past, they've spent $4 or $5 grand. So if I come in there with a package,
and that's nothing.
Yeah. If I come in there with a package and say $4 or $5 grand, then I know it's reasonable because you've spent that in the past. But if I'm like, they got $4 or $5 grand, I'll do the first package at 2. It's okay, but I'd say, shoot for the moon, start with that first package at $4 or $5 grand. And then if they come back and like, hey, actually, we were looking to be more so around 2 or 3, then you can adjust after the fact. Because having that previous vendor information, that helps a ton.
Yeah. So the reason I would say he gave me that, and the reason why I'm being so fairly priced, is because he's from Arete. We met in Arete. He's also an Arete member. So
yeah,
that's kind of we're kind of quote unquote homies, I guess you could say. So
circle jerk action.
It's it's not like a friend discount, but it's I'll be fair with you.
Yeah.
Discount.
Which is good. But now we know for strangers in the future.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah, it's a different mindset.
Yeah. It's the mindset you have to have around money. I just saw a thing the other day where someone started carrying around $1,000 in their wallet just to get used to money being abstract. A lot of people, they're like, oh my God, I got $1,000 in my pocket. I got to be very careful. I don't want to lose this, which of course no one wants to lose $1,000. Yeah. But once you have that $1,000 on you the whole time, talking about money changes subconsciously. The feeling of $1,000 changes because eventually, I walk around $1,000 in my pocket every day. So if I go tell someone $5,000, it's like, yeah, whatever. I got $1,000 in my pocket. You know what I mean? So that's a cool concept. I've never done it. But I like the mindset idea of doing that.
Got to start being like Floyd Money Mayweather, carry around a milli.
Yeah, just carry around a backpack with just straight bands. Yeah, easy. I wish. All right, good little insight into the updates there this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Our thoughts really kind of just working through a couple of proposals there. But let's get into this week's news story. We're going to be talking about some anti-competitive behavior in the hiring market. Tyler, this is your article find. Give us a little bit of rundown what we're going to be discussing.
Maybe it's not so exactly what the article's about. It's just because I did briefly go through it, and I think it was coming up with different laws around competitive nature and that sort of stuff, and maybe the what's it called when you mergers and acquisitions and non-competes and all that stuff, where it makes it less competitive. But I think at the same time, when you read this headline, anti-competitive behavior hurts consumers and the economy, you can get a lot deeper than it with the people that you hire, because a lot of these people and companies started to push for diversity and inclusion and hiring based off of this stuff, like demographics, backgrounds, as opposed to skills and knowledge. So it's you're not hiring the best person. And when you're not hiring the best person, it ends up leading to a weaker economy because you're not having the best people push you forward and there's not as much competition. So if there's not as much competition, it doesn't elevate the scale. Because if everyone's hiring the best, it elevates the scale to up here. And then all of a sudden, now everyone else has to either elevate their skills and knowledge or they get left behind.
My thought process on this, which I do agree, I think everyone, so, take this with a grain of salt, but this is more so a curious question. When companies hire based on demographics or, whatever you want to call it, and not the best candidate, the people that aren't getting hired, the quote unquote best candidate, where are they then getting hired? Because I assume they're going to a different company. So does that make the top companies not the best they can be, and then some of the mid-level companies are maybe getting some of the better talent that should be at the top-level companies? Where do you think they're going?
Yeah. That makes sense. Maybe they're either going out, starting their own thing, or going to, like you said, to the smaller middle companies, or maybe that just potentially hurts their confidence, and then they don't realize that maybe that takes a stab at their ego, and they think that I'm not actually good at what I think I am, and then it makes them feel worse than they actually are. So then it hurts them a little bit. Because if you think of it on both scales, the person that got hired, they're probably like, "Oh yeah, I'm qualified. I'm skillful. I'm knowledgeable." But they might have only got hired because they have X quality, whatever it is.
Yeah, female or African American, whatever it is.
Yeah, so like that might boost their confidence, and the other person gets.
I'd be curious to see
hurt a little bit.
I'd be curious to see a study on the effects of that, because I never thought about it that way until you were just talking about it. But it's like maybe some of the mid-level people are getting this better talent then, or because obviously these people are not going unhired. It's not like they apply for one job.
Maybe they just go to lower level type of positions where they don't have as big of an impact. Like maybe they go for a COO, and then all of a sudden they don't get that job. And then
so they get a manager position.
Yeah. Or they get like a clerk or something where they can't have a huge impact or a huge say on the company's direction and values, opinions, whatever it might be. And having
I'd say it's more so. I'd say it's more so that probably, because I didn't think about it that way. Yeah, because it does suck. It does suck if if you aren't hiring the best. Then there starts to be the political, okay, we have to hire this because of diversity and we have to do this, which honestly, like if I'm applying for a job and a female is more, she has better qualifications than I do, I 100% think you should hire the female. But I don't think, if I have better qualifications, that the female should be hired over me, or vice versa. If the female has better qualifications, she shouldn't think that I should be hired because they need more men in the company, whatever it is. So yeah, I've never liked that. That just recently started happening here in the last 3, 4, 5 years. And hopefully, it's kind of like the Disney thing we talked about last week. Was that last week?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. It's like, we don't need to push this narrative. Yeah. We talked about Gemini last week. But yeah, it's like hire the best people, the best candidates. It's kind of like the NFL. They're doing you get an extra draft pick if you have a black staff member. Like, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez,
it's called a rule. Something. If one of your coaches is African American, you get awarded another draft pick. So
that's dumb.
Yeah. So that's, and it feels, and we're not just saying it's African American. Yeah. It feels like if you're the person that's being hired because of that, wouldn't you think the only reason I'm being hired because of this is because they get awarded for it?
Yeah. It's degrading to that person if they start thinking about it like that. It's like, they're only hiring me because I'm black. They're only hiring me because I'm a girl. They're only hiring me because of X. And then it's just like, but I don't know. I think a lot of people in those shoes at the same time think they are qualified.
Yeah. And it ends up being, it's only the big companies that this happens at. Because trust me, if I got a 5-person team and I'm trying to hire someone, I'm trying to find the absolute best person to edit videos, right?
Right.
I don't care if you're black, green, yellow, freaking got no eyeballs, no ears. If you're female, male, both.
Be hard to edit with no eyeballs.
Yeah, but if you could get the job done, man. And I'm like, I don't know how the hell this guy's doing it, but he keeps fucking doing it.
He feels the computer.
Yeah, I'm like, he can just feel the footage, man. It's crazy.
There's braille.
Yeah,
braille footage.
Yeah, he just touches the screen. He's like, okay, Samantha's walking into the business. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So some of the lines from it: if you're living a cozy life in a highly concentrated industry, you're you're not going to do some of the things. You're not going to dedicate as much research to, or as much to research and development. So that's basically saying if you're getting comfortable and like there's not as much competition, it's not forcing everyone to get left up. It's not in turn reinvesting into research and development to create a better product, which is a lot of the things. So it's like you got to constantly be doing that.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how this plays out over the next couple of years, if this trend continues or if people start to hire the best candidate.
I don't think it is, because there was, I believe it was a bank. They used to be promoting all this bullshit where it's like hire diversity, hire whatever. And the bank ended up suffering because they were doing that and they weren't hiring the best candidates. And now it's biting them in the ass because they didn't hire the best.
Like, no one
they
can
hired
get this job
shit.
done.
Yeah, exactly. So now they're coming back on what they were saying before about hiring based on all these reasons. And they're like, okay, that didn't turn out as we thought. And now they're coming back and saying, okay, maybe it wasn't right to do that. Maybe it wasn't smart.
It's good in theory. In a perfect world, diversity comes with the best candidates. But you can't always choose that. So, All right, let's talk about this week's topic. And Tyler, you don't got anything else, do you?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. So let's talk about this week's hire the best. Hire us. Let's talk about this week's topic. We're going to be talking, Tyler teased it a little bit earlier, but only accepting your ideal clients, not straying away from what you should be working on and the different projects you should be working on just to either chase money or whatever it might be. Me and Tyler are kind of in two different situations right now, because Tyler's obviously beginning stages of New Frame. He's taken on different jobs. I've been doing this. This is my 5th year doing this, so I have a little bit of better idea of the clients I want to work with. But Tyler, where are you at right now? Obviously, you're in a different boat than me. Where are you at?
I'm in my parents' basement right now. Where are you at?
I'm in my den, I call it now.
Nice. Yeah. So where I'm currently at is obviously beginning stages where I'll basically accept anything. And that's what happened with a couple of the clients, like my Google ad client, when she was looking for a new hosting company, not really something that I do or offer. And I had to migrate her site over, and then it just ended up teaching me a lot of new things. And then when Mike came along and he was asking for all this stuff, I'm like, I mean, I don't really necessarily do that, but I probably can if I feel like doing it.
Yeah.
And then so I was just like, sure, why not? I'll do that. And then same thing with the guy that referred Mike. He wanted I don't really know. It was like a social media / videographer type of person. I was like, yeah, I'd be up for that.
Yeah.
So it's just saying yes to basically every opportunity that I get. So that's, as long as it's somewhat in the, like if someone says,
bake me a dozen cookies.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to go pizza, but
yeah,
pretty much the exact same thing, where it's like, if it's in the marketing realm, I'll probably say yes as of right now.
Yeah. And that's something where I think where you're at in the beginning stages, everyone goes through it, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to be a yes man, because when I did it 100%, I did the same exact thing. I was shooting any video I could do, taking any photo job I could do, just because I wanted to do it. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I say yes? This freaking congestion is getting to me here.
Be better.
But as you move on through business, you start to learn when you're going through these different jobs, and I don't know if you're experiencing this yet, Tyler, but you get to the point where you figure out what you don't want to do. I think a lot of times you figure out what you don't want to do before you actually figure out exactly what you want to do. I learned that early on with weddings, that, hey, I do not want to shoot weddings. Like, this isn't for me. A more recent one that's, not super recent, not like in the last months, but in the last couple of years, no more photo jobs. I do not do photo jobs. No senior pictures, no family pictures. Here and there, if it's like a family, if they're like, hey, we need you to like just come over for 20 minutes and snap a photo, that I'll do. I did that last week for my cousin's Christmas card. But if it's something where like, hey, we want family pictures and we want to go out by this tree and we want to do this, or hey, we got senior photos, we got 3 different outfits. Not doing that, because it's just not what I do. I had someone reach out, a family member the other day that said, hey, it was my aunt or my cousin. And she said, hey, do you take senior pictures? I said, no. And then she said, oh, well, my dad said you do. And I said, well, he's wrong because I don't do it anymore. So it's realizing you do those things in the beginning, which is good. One, it gets you money in the beginning to get going, get your feet under you. And then two, you get to experience the whole realm of whatever your industry is. So if it's marketing for Tyler, he gets to experience websites. He gets to experience Google Ads, social media marketing, videography, photography, all of it. He gets to experience it. And then he can decide from there. He's like, okay, this, I really hated doing this. He's like, websites, I keep fucking them up. I'm not doing websites anymore. He's like, Google Ads, I'm great at. Let's stick in this realm. So in the beginning, being that yes man, totally okay. But as you progress, you need to start realizing what you do or who you do and who you do not work for and with.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever, because when I did first start out, I was like, okay, let's do Google Ads and like, let's just specialize there. And I kind of made my website broad with marketing services. It's like, okay, I'll do all this stuff. But then I started getting other inquiries about stuff, and I was just like, yeah. And I think, like you were saying, I think it's good to narrow or at least learn and be like, okay, maybe I enjoyed this and I didn't expect to, or I didn't even know this existed until I accepted this job. So it's like, okay, that wasn't too bad. I enjoyed doing that. Payout was good profit. So I think it's a good learning area, especially in the beginning, to just accept some of those jobs. And a lot of the times it's just like you're just trying to get money just to get by, like especially if you don't have another job, and it's like, okay, now I gotta just kind of accept whatever I can accept because I need some money coming in.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, I recommend that to people in the beginning. Like, take that money, learn those different things. Another good part about this is in the beginning when you are doing these
practice.
Different things. Exactly. And when you are doing these different things, it's good to be knowledgeable or good enough in certain fields that if someone else was to do it that was on your team, you at least know what they're talking about. So for me, photography, if I bring on a photographer because I don't want to do photography, but I need someone that takes pictures for clients or is taking behind the scenes, I can at least hold them accountable because I've done photo before. I know when you're slacking off. I know when you're not doing things right. So it's good to be deadly enough there. Whereas if Tyler, he's like, hey, I just do Google Ads. If he brings a guy on that does landing pages, he can hold that guy accountable and say, I've done landing pages before. I don't like to do it and I don't do it, but I know enough about landing pages to at least sit at the same table as you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. I know you always bring up the example from Gary Vee where it's like you should learn every single position, like cashier, etc., just so you're able to know what to do and how it works, and it just helps you become more knowledgeable. And at the same time, it's like showcasing that you can do it. It's like I just don't do it because I have to spend my time in other areas, and it's like when other people like lead by example type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like you're able to lead by example because like you could do their job if you really wanted to, and I think that helps inspire them to be better.
And it's good because when you grow, then it allows you for those opportunities to just focus on one thing and know enough about what your team is doing. I think it can get hairy. Not that I've been in this situation, but in the startup world, let's say, someone is strictly does sales. Okay. If you just focus on sales and you don't know what else is going on in the business, it's really easy for a partner to be doing some shady stuff behind your back. It's really easy for a partner to be mishandling things. So being deadly in those different areas allows you, like I said, hold people accountable. If I had a partner that is me shooting and him editing and I didn't know how to edit, I might not know what's the capabilities are. I might see a video and be like, okay, it looks good. Whereas if I knew how to edit, I could be like, well, I know you can do better than that. Like you didn't even color grade it, right? So just being able to know that stuff opens up a lot of doors down the road. And that's why I'm an advocate for being that yes man in the beginning. Tyler, you have a little bit of two different outlooks on this because one, you have New Frame, which you're doing yourself, kind of a yes man. And then you have your client work for, your day job. What are the differences there?
Well, I don't do a lot of the sales. I just kind of do a job, and it's like, okay, here's your client. So they handle a lot of that, but the marketing behind our business is basically we only serve this specific avatar, and if you aren't this avatar, we don't want you. So it really allows them and us to be able to focus in on our marketing efforts to say, hey, are you this person? Well, we can help you. And then at the same time, it helps us become more scarce because sure, there's hundreds, millions, I don't know if there's millions, but marketing agencies out there. But is there a marketing agency that serves this specific avatar? And then that it helps us create more demand and less supply. And then that helps us increase our prices because we're more specialized. We're industry experts. And then at the same time, it's like we're able to be picky with the people that come in because we only serve this client. We only do this. And it's like, if you aren't this person, we're going to say no to you. So it helps us allow to be able to pick and choose who we want to be our client.
That's another great point is the pricing too. I have that on the notes here is that when you focus on one specific area, the more of those specific jobs that you do, let's use Google Ads, for example, the more jobs Tyler does with Google Ads, the better he gets. The more refined he gets, the quicker he gets, the more efficient. The more he does, he can start charging more because if a client comes to him, he said, hey, we've been doing Google Ads for 10 years, just Google Ads. That's all we focus on. Whereas if you're adding different services, every time you level up in Google Ads and then you move over one rung to landing pages, you're automatically drop back down to the bottom, right? So, you're working on Google Ads, someone says, okay, let's do a landing page. Boom, you go do the landing page. We don't really know anything about landing pages. So you're back at the beginning when you're learning. You're working out the kinks. You're making mistakes. Okay, now we're going to move over to photo. Okay, well, I don't know a ton about photo, so I can't charge a ton. So I'm working out the mistakes, working out the kinks. Whereas if you focus on one, get really good at it, that's when you can start upping your prices, which at the end of the day is going to create more profit.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've been learning a lot is where I'm making a lot of mistakes. So I'm able to learn a lot. And then at the same time, like you were saying, once I start doing this more, I become more faster, more efficient, which means that, and then I'm able to increase my prices at the same time. So it basically frees up my time. And then I know this isn't like a profit margin type of business because the only investment is like time. So, but at the same time, the profit margin just increases over time because you become more efficient with your time. So it's like profit margin on time.
And you get more confident. That's the thing. If you're doing it and you're like, man, I'm doing Google Ads every day. That's all I work on. You get more confident that you can deliver what you're promising to deliver to the client. And with that confidence allows you to charge more money because you're not going to charge a shitload of money if you're not very confident in your services. But if I go out there and I know I can make you this exact video, exactly what you're describing, and it's going to look awesome, I'm really confident I can charge a high ticket value because I know I can accomplish that. But if someone comes to me and they say, build me a landing page, I'm not terribly confident in my landing page abilities, so I'm not going to charge you $10K, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think you'll ever get there, or do you think you'll outsource that part?
Landing pages?
Or do you just, you're just going to stay strictly video?
I'll never personally do it. I think if I ever get to it, it'll be someone on my team or like, a vendor like you where it's outsourced to it. And it's more so a partnership. But I don't think I'll ever get to the point where internally I'm doing landing pages.
Yeah. Because I know you always talk about expanding your team. So maybe it's like getting someone on your team. But like if you get someone on your team, wouldn't you, going back to the advice that you were saying, shouldn't you be able to be knowledgeable and know how to do that and build the landing page at the same time?
I think I know enough about it. The structure and building it. I just don't know the crazy like HTML and all the back end stuff.
You don't need to know that stuff.
Yeah. So that's the stuff I don't know, but I'm like, hey, I know what I want the landing page to look like. I know what's possible on a landing page. I might not know.
People use that anymore.
HTML and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I sure don't.
It's all drag and drop now.
Yeah.
Like you built your website. It's basically building your website. It's just making the landing page.
Yeah.
Have all the appropriate whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like modules and shit to make people convert.
So that's if I had a guy doing websites and landing pages, I'm like, I know I built my own website, so I know what you're doing. I might not be able to get exactly what you're doing. But any service, I want to know it, good enough. Even Google Ads, like you know 100 times more about Google Ads than me, but I do have a Google Ads account. I used to have one for my old business. I don't know if I have one for Better Creative Media or not, but I've scrolled through it and I've seen the interface and kind of what you can do. I've never really put it into effect at a high rate, but at least I know enough. Same with Facebook ads. I've ran a few Facebook ads. I know the formats you needed in. I know the targeting, the budget ranges, all of that. But to be an expert at that is much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is opportunity cost. When you are taking these jobs, what potential opportunity are you saying no to? If I say, hey, this weekend I'm going to shoot, a job on Thursday, or I'm going to shoot a job on Friday, what opportunity am I saying no to that maybe tomorrow someone might call me and say, hey, we got this job on Friday? This job we were talking about at the top of the show where I'm going to be traveling for a week. If I had booked a big shoot over that week, that's the opportunity cost that if this company now comes to me and says, hey, we want to travel, I then have to say, well, I can't because I took this other job, right? Or you could try to move it, of course. But that's the opportunity cost. You saying yes to this is a potential no to something else that comes up at the same time that you're not available for. So you have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. When you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Especially
if it's for cheap. If I say, hey, I'm taking my cousin's family pictures this weekend, Friday at 7:00, I'm only charging them $150. And then I get a call from someone that says, hey, we have this big event. We're flying in Kim Kardashian. She's going to be speaking. Will you shoot it? We got a $3,000 budget on Friday. All of a sudden, obviously I'd probably move the family pictures, but all of a sudden you're like, well, shit, what do I do? Because, I said yes to this already, and now this other job came up. The same thing happened this year. I have a retainer client where we shoot once a month.
Just outsource it.
You could. But I have a retainer client where I shoot once a month, and we had something booked on a Wednesday, and this bigger job came in, and they said, hey, we need you Wednesday. We're flying in Wednesday. And I did end up moving the retainer client because this job was pretty big, and but it was difficult. It wasn't a good conversation to be like, hey, I need to move our shoot because a bigger shoot just came in. So it's always movable. You can always change things, but sometimes there's things you commit to that you can't change.
Have you ever done that before? That just made me think, because obviously your grad photos are a smaller project that you could find someone that knows photo and be like, hey, I'll pay you $100 to go do this. You just take the $50 profit. But have you ever had a video client and then be like, okay, I got to outsource this part, or maybe something like that?
No, most of them, I'm small enough right now where most of them I can move. But okay. I think at one point, I think the bigger you get and the bigger projects you get, it's much easier to move jobs that, are smaller and maybe they're paying you a little bit less. But let's say I take a job for $2,500 on Tuesday, and then I have a job come up for $5,000 on Tuesday. That's a little bit harder to move, because you're getting double the budget, but then you're also pissing off this client that's paying you $2,500, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit harder, where it's easier to move things around when you're on the lower scale. But I think the more you grow and the bigger you get, it's a little bit harder, and opportunity cost comes into play a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But cool. All right. That's kind of all I got, guys. Just make sure that you keep these things in mind. If you're at the beginning, of course, say yes to everything. You got to learn everything. You got to see what you like. You got to see what you don't like. Tyler's going through that right now. I went through it with weddings and photos and musicals and all the different things I filmed. And then you figure out, you're like, okay, I'm not doing this. And then the power to say no is one of the biggest things people overlook. When you can say no, you have more power. So if someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to shoot these photos, I say no. Pick rocks. Lose this number. How'd you get this number? That's all the things I say. So
I'm your uncle.
Which reminds me, I got to take the drop down. I have a drop down box on my website. When people fill out a form, they kind of pick their budget. And there's one on there that's $0 to $1,000. I got to take it off because people always click it. And I'm like, I don't do shit for that price. Honestly, I don't even know what it is. I think 1,000 to 5,000 is the second drop down box, or I'll have to maybe change that a little bit too.
Doesn't look like your website's live right now.
Oh, that's exciting. I just got a form filled out yesterday.
503 service unavailable. I don't know if it's just me, but it's not showing right now.
Well, hey, this is a good little find here on the podcast.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, you might want to get that fixed after this podcast.
Yeah, it's just another.
I can get to see project, but I can't get to your homepage. That's weird. I'm on your homepage now. I don't know what that was. I'm here now.
Yeah, I got it on
There's
mine.
something going on there.
Must be your internet. That Canadian dial-up. I do have to update it a little bit though. But yeah, budget range on here. I got divided 0, 1,000, 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 plus. So yeah, I got to switch that up. $1,000 project. No, thank you.
Cool. What's your genius business idea you got here?
This is your business idea.
Are you sure?
Clean bar?
Oh, I guess that is mine. Now that I think about it, yeah.
I was like, I don't
didn't
know.
come up with that idea.
I was like, I don't know what
I thought
this
that
is.
was yours.
No,
yeah, I came up
yours,
with
man.
that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so good thing I put that in there because I completely forgot about it.
There you go.
So, yeah, I was just thinking because a lot of... So I don't drink, obviously. Maybe not obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't drink.
You're like, look at me.
and
Look at this specimen. You're like the
Do you
white
think I
DK
drink?
Metcalf.
So, yeah, I don't drink, and it just made me think that bars are an environment that people go to drink. And what if you created an environment where drinking wasn't the norm, and it's like a quote unquote clean bar that people can come to, and you're gonna, like, for me, it's like I don't really like to go to bars because I don't drink, and I just kind of sit there in the corner drinking water. It's like I don't really feel out of place here.
So do you like the social aspect of it though?
Not really. And so it just made me think, what if because if you create like a bar or atmosphere or environment that the norm isn't everyone's drunk here, everyone's drinking. What if everyone is here, they're all sober, they're all having fun being sober, there's maybe different games or whatever it might be, and it's just like a different environment. And then at the same time, you're probably also going to be connecting with other people that are like-minded like you, or maybe not like-minded, but like habitual, that don't actually drink, and maybe they prefer, because it's like, for me, if I wanted to find someone else that doesn't drink, it's going to be tough to find someone, because like I could go to a bar, there's not going to be many people there that aren't drinking. And it's like, for me, I don't personally go out because it's like that environment, I don't like to be around that type of stuff just because I don't particularly partake in it. So it's like, what if there was an atmosphere or an environment that you get around? And it also was because, have you ever heard, Alex talks about this a lot, where the veterans, when they went to, I think it was the Philippines, like 80% of them, 90%, I don't know what the percentage, they all did heroin. And that was like the environment. They all did heroin there. But when they came back to America, they're in a different environment. And
they stopped doing
that's
it.
a big, exactly. So it's huge with the environment. So like, say you're homeless and you do drugs all the time, you go to AA or whatever it is, and you get cleaned up, and then you come back to that same environment, you're going to go back to those same habits and behaviors because you're in that same environment. So it's just trying to come up with a new environment for people to go to where they don't feel obligated to go out and say drink or smoke, drink, party, whatever it is.
My question for you would be, it's good on the consumer side of things, like for someone like you that's looking for that atmosphere, but you'd have to find some sort of business model for the bar, quote unquote, clean bar, to make money, because bars make money by selling drinks. Mm-hmm. And you can't make money selling water. Yeah. And how many pops are you going to drink?
I'm not drinking any because I obviously don't drink. Not obviously, but I don't drink that either. So it's just, maybe it's like caffeine-free tea, maybe decaf coffee, water.
Just so
maybe it's like
a nighttime coffee shop.
Somewhat maybe. But I was thinking like you could also like give out free water bottles, and then like everything else, like maybe like you have really good food, or there's other areas built within Like maybe you have merch, or because I know when I was recording podcasts, you said there was this one restaurant, they had a specific t-shirt launch that was limited time, like every Thursday or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like you have merch drops. It's like this is going to be one in a lifetime design. Maybe we have like this expert class designer that makes a new t-shirt every week, and it's like there's only 100 of them. So maybe just something like that, but just coming up with different sources of revenue. So like obviously like maybe food's a popular one where you can come in and get some food, and then maybe like some decaffeinated tea or coffee, pop obviously. Just something of that nature.
I like the idea. It would take some working out the kinks, and then the marketing would be huge. How you get people there and how you sell people on the idea, but definitely not the worst idea.
That's good to hear. No, I think you'd be able to speak to the avatar directly, because it's like, if you're drunk, get the fuck out of here. We don't want you. And if you're coming here to get drunk and be like obnoxious,
belligerent,
we don't want you. Yeah. So it's like you're able to speak directly to them, and it's like you're obviously gonna attract it. It's like if we catch you drinking or trying to sneak stuff in here, it's like you're banned.
But I don't think people would try to, because I think those people just go to a regular bar. I don't think someone would try to sneak drinks into a place that they know nobody else is drinking, because then it's like, then they're all of a sudden the outcast, you know? It's like nobody else here is drinking. I'm going to go in there and be the weird one drinking.
But a lot of times, I know I used to think this, it's tough going out and being, quote unquote, social, being sober. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. It's like, I don't know how to do that. I can't go up and talk to anyone when I'm sober. It's like, how do you do this coming out being sober? It's like, do you really got to drink to have fun? It's like some people are like that. Yeah,
which is
it might just be an identity that they have with themselves.
Yeah, it's just and like, obviously it's not gonna be for everybody, but the people that's their thing. They don't drink and they will still want to go out and be social. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I thought it was decent.
Cool. Tyler, anything else before we wrap this up?
No, anything with you?
I don't think so. Christmas episode will be out next week. So that'll be.
Is it going to be on the 24th or when? I don't know.
25th. Christmas is on a Monday.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we'll get a Christmas hat before then, a little Santa hat, and we'll wear it.
I have a Santa shirt. I'll wear a Santa shirt.
Okay, let's see Christmas themed movie film for next week.
Cool.
I think I got a Snoopy one.
I'll put like a pillow in here too. Yeah. This sweater's so uncomfortable. It's like I don't know what it is, but the material it was made out of, because it's got like all this stuff. So it's like probably the yeah, it's like the stitching and shit. It's like, oh, this is not comfortable. I'll put a sweater inside. Maybe I'll have a t-shirt underneath.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Christmas episode next week. That's episode 67 of The Midnight Entrepreneur. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. And if you found value in this content or found this entertaining, share this with a friend or post it on your story. And if you really enjoyed the show, we'd love a rating and a review wherever you're listening. Talk to you guys next week for another episode of The Midnight Entrepreneur.
It takes months to find a customer, seconds to lose one. Vince Lombardi.